Guys, hey, thank you so much for being here. I am overly excited about this chat because last night's episode was so good. I can't even contain my excitement for this show. It was just incredible. So, if you are already here in the room, go ahead and say, hey. I will look and see who is in the room currently. I know Vanessa's here, and Mark is here, and Samar is here, and hopefully more of you will be here soon. Hi, Mark. But anyway, gosh, I just love this show so much. I have an ad on my screen right now, but maybe you guys don't see that. Hopefully you can see me. Hi, Brittany. Thank you so much for being here. So I feel like we have a lot of stuff to talk about. And hi, Brianna. Thank you for being here. First of all, I guess we'll just start with the biggest thing. I know that most of you do not want Ben to be bad, and you have hoped that he wasn't bad, but I have been thinking for a while now that he is a villain, and I think it's almost for certain that he is not a good guy. And that's how I also think they will advance the show to a second season, because I'm not really sure what's going to happen with Doug. Yes, he did go into the police station, but we don't know how that's going to play out. I have a feeling he's going to blame it all on his wife, or he has some crazy story. I do not think he's in there to turn himself in and be like, yes, I did all this stuff. I just don't feel like I think he's too smart for that. Hi, Tony. Thank you for being here. So I will ask you, first of all, even though there's more things to talk about, what are your thoughts on Ben? What do you think is up with him? And what do you think about Doug turning himself in and how that's going to play out? Hi, Terrence. Thanks so much for being here tonight. So we only have 2 more episodes left, and I'm sure those 2 are going to be crazy. And apparently, according to people like the girl who plays Willa on the show, the last few minutes of the finale are supposed to be insane, which I'm not surprised because they've been kind of teasing that for a while now. Hi, Ryan. Thanks for being here. So, yeah. So that's my biggest question for you guys is, what the heck is going on with Ben? Because obviously, guys, he is friends with Doug. I mean, you can see the body language, the interaction that they had in the park. This was not a kid who was scared of a guy. This was someone who was very comfortable with him. Something is not right there. So I'm not going to believe that he's just being forced to talk to him, or anything like that, because I wasn't getting that vibe from him at all. Brittany says, have no idea what is going on. I think she thinks that Ben will say that Doug didn't do it for some reason, also have no idea what's going to happen between Jane and Clement, who's the detective. That is a really messed up situation. There were times when I felt like she was going to go down there and murder him. One of the coolest things that happened in last night's episode was how they tricked us about the detective's hiding place. So all along, I think you guys probably thought, I definitely thought, that the detective was being kept in the shed beside their house, but he was actually being kept way out in the woods, and Jane and Doug had moved to some house out in the woods. So that intense scene when the detectives are searching the home, and they're just going to find him when they go into the shed, and it's just heartbreaking when they pull up. It was just such a good scene. They pull up the door and just while Jane is leaving, but it's 2 different sheds. I thought that was so incredible, such a fake out for the audience, and I loved it. So Mark thinks it's suspicious that Doug secretly spoke to Ben in episode 9. Then suddenly Doug turns himself in. Maybe they're planning to set up Hank to prove he killed Adam or something. There's cat wars going on at my feet. I love that idea, and I hadn't thought about that, and I think that's just genius. Very good. Yes, I like that a lot. And I've said for a while now that Hank has to play a huge role into this, and I know he's the one that pretty much told police who Doug was and everything, but I could see him playing a bigger role and him being set up again, or him being accused again. I don't know how. Yeah, okay, that could work. I was going to say you can't be charged with the same crime twice, but he was only charged with Adam's kidnapping, not his murder. So I don't know. But I've been thinking about a few things, and I know we still don't have all the pieces here to figure out what this Ben-Doug connection is, because, what was the deal with having Doug come to the mall? Because Ben seemed really all about that, because, he had to dump his jacket, and his jacket had the dog hair, and that kind of helped the one detective figure out who he was and led him to Jane. So I'm just trying to figure out, why would Ben be doing that if he was trying to work for him? He's obviously working for him now. He was like, they know your name. He was giving him tips about what police know and everything. And what I don't understand also is that Willa seriously approached Ben about this deal to pretend to be Adam. It wasn't his idea. So I'm a little confused there. However, it was his idea to show up at Adam's house, and that's a little suspicious. As I've always said, why didn't he go looking for his family? I get maybe he's a foster kid, but I think, what makes the most sense is that you're going to go to the police or something. You're not going to go to the kid who you live with's family first. Your first stop, if you had just escaped this place you've been in for 10 years, you're going to go to the police or something and be like, this guy, I would feel like he would go there and say, look, I can take you to the place where this guy was. Why didn't he do that? Because, he thought maybe he couldn't get out of there. Like I was just down there a couple hours ago. I can take you to this place, and he's maybe still there. And he's the person who's had me kidnapped and under the ground for 10 years. So Vanessa watched next week's promo. I did see a promo at the end of last week's episode, or of last night's episode, that looked really good. Rockstar is saying for a second thought that Ben was Eric. Eric. Why do I not remember who Eric is? Remind me. Brittany says, have no idea what's going on with Ben and Doug's relationship and Ben and Adam's relationship. So I know. And here's another thing. So Ben confessed to hurting Adam to Willa. And I know they were getting ready for dinner and stuff, but I was like, why aren't you asking him what he means by that? Like, what did he do? Did he kill him? What did he do? Why didn't she ask more questions? I was just kind of like freaking out. Like, that's really important. And then she almost told her mom that he said he'd hurt Adam, and then she kind of chickened out. I don't know. This show is crazy. So Terrence thinks that maybe Hank has a big secret about Ben, and he blackmailed him when he went in his room. I don't know. It's crazy. It's hard to figure out, definitely. Eric was the boy who went missing all those years ago when he first got with Jane. Thank you, Holly. Thank you so much. So another one of his victims, basically. Okay. Vanessa thinks that maybe John finds out about Ben in next week's episode. I definitely think that is going to happen this season. So we have 2 episodes left. I'd say that Danny kind of has an idea, because he always has. I still think he probably has an idea that this kid is not Adam. He still feels that way. But John, I don't think feels that way. And that's definitely got to come out in the next 2 episodes. I definitely think that's coming out this season. Thank you, Rockstar. I appreciate it. Brittany says Eric didn't go missing. He was molested by Doug. Okay. Thank you. Somehow I had forgotten about that. Thank you. So, wow. I don't know. Like, this one is like, this show, I feel like I've figured out part of it because I feel like Ben is our main villain, but I don't know how all the pieces tie together, and I don't know how everything's going to be explained. And I know that we will get some answers probably at the end of this season. However, I think there's like the people who create the show have said, there's going to be so many questions. And I think there's going to be a lot we don't find out, so that we will come back for a season 2 and a season 3. Rockstar thinks that it's creepy that Jane's baby has the same birthday as Ben. I never even thought about that, but that is completely right and really is creepy. How strange is that? And I don't know what's going to happen here. Like, I guess she'll be okay without seeing a doctor since she had her baby like in that shed or whatever, but what is up with that? What is going to happen? I mean, I sincerely hope that the detective doesn't end up dead. I can't wait to find out what Doug says to Nina next week. It's just crazy. Ryan says, it seems when the detective told Jane, I'm so sorry, it's a boy. Oh, that scene was so chilling. I thought so too. And I thought that's what he was going to say, because I just had a really good feeling, or really not a good feeling, but a bad feeling that the baby was a boy, which is the worst case scenario. But it was really awesome to hear Jane tell him off and tell Doug to go to hell. And I would love for her to be able to get away from him. And when I first found out that she, was helping him and she hit the detective, I really, really disliked her. But now I just feel like she's such a broken person who's been abused mentally, I guess, for all these years. And she doesn't know how to be on her own or how to get away from him, or she's too afraid that he'll kill her or something. I don't know. So I kind of feel bad for her now. I mean, I don't 100% feel bad for her, but I think I feel a little bit more bad for her than I did when I originally found out she was helping Doug cover all this stuff. Holly thinks that Doug is going to get away with it because Ben's going to say he's not the guy. I agree. I can definitely see that happening, but I don't understand what kind of deal they have. However, this just kind of gives me an idea. What if Ben is going to be like, this is not the right guy because Ben killed Adam, and Doug would tell that he killed Adam unless he helps him. What do you guys think about that? Holly says, why isn't Willa telling Claire he hurt Adam? I think she was going to, but she's like so focused on her mom becoming governor, and her mom was talking about how she had stuff to do to prepare, for the campaign, and I think she's afraid to tell her because she would just be like even more broken and not want to keep working on the campaign, which is stupid because she needs to know that there's a criminal, there's a scary guy living in their house, and they need to stop pretending that that is Adam. Mark has a feeling they're going to make Ben super innocent for the next few episodes, and the finale will end with a flashback to Ben murdering Adam. They very much hinted at it like hardcore last week that he probably killed Adam. And I thought it was a little overboard. And I was like, I don't know if I can buy into that because it was almost too much. But now I don't know. Now it kind of makes sense if he did. I mean, he was really sinister there with Willow when he was saying, like, I loved him, but I hated him. I hated him for having all these memories with a loving family and everything. And that made me really angry. Like, seriously, I mean, it's bad enough for this kid to be kidnapped and held underground, but now the person who's down here with him is treating him terribly too because he's jealous. I mean, ridiculous. So, Holly's also saying that maybe Ben is Doug's son, which is something Brittany has said from the beginning. So if that turns out to be true, then you are a rock star because, oh my gosh, that would just be so crazy. And I know like a lot of people who thought that was crazy, but I definitely bought into that and think it could still be true. So Rockstar says it's funny how Doug turns himself in the same way Ben said he was Adam in the first episode. Thank you. I thought of that just like you did. I thought that was almost a parallel, and I'm sure they did that on purpose, and it was very creepy. Very, because they both pointed to the picture, like at the police station, of themselves. However, the picture was not of Ben, but was of Adam. Very, very good point. So Brianna says Claire and Willa need an award for best liars. The scene where Claire compared Nina to a whack-a-mole was so real. If I were Nina, I would have been like, dang, she's right. Yeah. So basically, Nina knows that Adam is not there. She doesn't know where he is, but she knows that Ben is not Adam. And she really, really called, Claire out, and Claire like flipped out and turned it over on her. And I don't know. I mean, yes, Nina did screw up once before by putting the wrong guy behind bars, but now she's on the right track. And now kind of people are, they don't really trust her because, she was like trying to say that she knew that Doug had the detective somewhere, and the other people were like, no, whatever, maybe he went off and killed himself or something. So it's just sad now that she's kind of lost her credibility. Aaron says, just got done watching the episode, but eating dinner, so won't be talking much. That's okay. Thank you so much, though, for tuning in and watching now, Aaron. I really appreciate that. So Ryan thinks there's something that happened between Ben and Adam we don't know. Absolutely. Hopefully we find out in the finale. And for a while now, I've been thinking that the flashbacks that Ben told Claire about weren't true, or were not, we didn't learn, we didn't hear everything that happened, or he just said them the way that she would like to hear them. I don't know. Ben really bothers me. He really gets under my skin. He has for a while now, but I know so many of you wanted him to be good and felt sorry for him. And I really kind of lost all my sorry feelings for him. And I think when he acted super scared and had like the medical conditions and stuff, I think a lot of that was acting. I do think he's had some medical conditions. And yes, I know he has like abuse scars, but that totally could have been staged. He did them to himself, or he asked Doug, or Doug told him he was going to do them. Or he could have gotten them from fighting with Adam, or who knows. I just don't know. I don't know if I really buy that he was molested by Doug. There's something like really wrong and weird and missing there. So Mark thought that Ben was Doug's son too, and then he ran away with Ben from his wife, who was the bakery woman, but I now think she's just irrelevant. I mean, yeah, I still kind of think the bakery woman is irrelevant, but I have a feeling that Ben could still be Doug's son because the mom could be dead. He could have killed the mom. I'm talking about Doug here. Who knows? Ben could have killed her. She could be, someone who just ran off or got remarried or whatever. I think the fact that he's in foster care really means nothing because, yes, he did at one point have parents. And you can have parents who are still around and be in foster care, but they're deemed, unfit parents. And maybe Doug has a criminal record or something and he wasn't able to care for him. Who really knows? Maybe that's how he ended up in the foster system. So I think that would just be a really good way for them to trick us into thinking that Ben really had no family, when the ultimate twist would be that Ben's family was Doug, and that's beyond creepy. Ryan wanted to punch Ben in the face when he told Willa he hurt her brother, then nonchalantly asked where the silverware was. Yeah, I mean, his attitude, I think his true colors are kind of coming out more and more. He was incredibly creepy last week, even more creepy this week. I have no idea what's going to happen in the next 2 episodes, but I'd say that we're going to see more creepy stuff from him. So Rockstar brings up a good point, asking if Doug and Jane are high school sweethearts. So wouldn't Jane know? Okay, so what if Jane is the mom? She could be his mom. What if they had a boy? She knew about the history of him around boys and didn't feel comfortable raising a boy with him. Maybe was hoping the second kid was a girl, and gave him away. I don't know. It seems a little bit like a stretch, but I could still get behind both of them being the parents. I think that could still make sense because she didn't really say what she was going to do, but, you know, the fact that she was having a boy, I think that she wants to get away from Doug at this point, but doesn't know how. And I feel like Detective Clemens is really trying to help empower her and make her feel like she can get away from him and survive on her own. However, if she does decide to do that, she is still going to have to go to jail for some time because she did assault and essentially kidnap a detective. So I don't think, you know, she's going to have to go to jail for life, but she's going to have to be punished for what she did. And you know, I don't know what's going to happen to her. And on the other hand, I could see Doug killing her or something terrible happening to her, or she, you know, kills herself because she can't deal with what to do, you know, and like doesn't want to have a baby boy with him or doesn't think she can get away. I don't know. I don't know what her future is. I feel like the characters of Doug and Jane are disposable and we can continue the story without them. So I could see both of them dying this season or maybe next season. I don't think we have to have them to continue the story. And that's kind of what I've said the past couple of weeks in these chats, is that there has to be a way to advance the story without Doug being, you know, a main factor. I still think Doug and Jane are just secondary minor characters, and I don't think we need them forever. We haven't had anyone die in this series, and not that we have to. I mean, except for Adam, I guess, but no one we know. So, you know, these types of shows, people do usually die. I could definitely see someone dying, at least one person dying this season. So Brittany says, what if Clemens gets out and takes care of Jane's baby while she's in prison? I could definitely see that happening because, you know, he seems like a really good guy. And I could see him and his husband raising this baby because I don't know what's going to happen to Doug, but it's not good. And then something's going to happen with her. The best case scenario is prison for her. So, yeah, I think that would be awesome. Grinch wants to know if Ben said he turned 19. He sure did. And they were saying that in a couple of months, Adam would have been 19. So he's just a couple of months older than Adam. And then again, I guess he has no money, but I was going to say, I'm not really sure why he still wants to be at home or like what exactly he's doing. And I guess like thinking about college and stuff isn't something that he would be thinking about because he never went to any school for 10 years. I don't know. Something they really haven't touched on is like how to make Ben's life more normal. And I guess they don't have to, but like, what is he doing all day long? Like, I know it's better than being, you know, hidden away from the world, but if that's really what was going on with him, but like, you know, doesn't he want to do something like try to go to high school or something? I know he's older than the people in high school, but just to be kind of like get back into society so that he could have a job one day. That's kind of strange to me, but maybe it's just something they don't feel like they need to put in the show. But at some point, doesn't this kid, you know, want to have a life for himself, like be able to get a job and stuff? He's not going to be able to live with those parents forever and do nothing. But I guess like Danny doesn't work or do anything either. So, and he's older. So I really don't know. It just seems kind of strange to me because, you know, Will is working. I really don't know why they're all living at home. Aren't they all older than him? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. I guess they're all living at home because of the storyline. But when you think about it, I'm not quite sure why. I guess, I don't know. That just seems weird to me. So Ryan doesn't feel like Clemens hates Jane, but he may feel bitter for her and want to help her get out of the situation she's in, and hopefully Jane realizes that. I think that Ryan's going to say, I think that Clemens is a really good person, and I think he's sincerely trying to help her. At the same time, I think he's trying to kind of, you know, see if she'll let him free, and I think she might have if Doug hadn't stolen the key. But I think he's kind of playing with her mind a little bit to try and see if they can get out of there. Like, you know, you can be free and you can be empowered, and now help me get out of here too. We have to get out of here. We're going to figure this out. Everything's going to be okay. Brandy says they were going to have a tutor for him, but they never talked about it after one of the first episodes. Yeah, so that would be something. And I guess, like I said, you know, maybe they just don't feel like they need to include any of that kind of stuff. Or maybe something terrible is going to happen with this character, so it doesn't even matter about going to school. So Vanessa says Danny actually mentioned a job, but he was turned down. I think that was in last week's episode. Yeah, okay, thank you for noticing that. But it seems like Danny's someone who probably couldn't keep a job even if he did get hired. So I don't know. Brittany says Danny has lived at home since Adam has returned. Willow lived at home because she takes care of her mom and is the campaign manager. Okay, so that makes, you know, that makes a little bit more sense than that makes more sense now that's cleared up. And I think Danny probably has to live there because, like I said, he doesn't really, well, he doesn't have a job. He doesn't seem like someone who could keep a job. He probably doesn't have money to live on his own. I was glad that Danny told, is it Bridie? I never know how to say her name, but the reporter person who I can't stand, he was basically saying he knows that she's, you know, hooking up with his sister too. And he was like, you know, if you're using her, then you need to stop because she thinks this is serious, and he didn't want to hook up with her anymore. And I was so glad. And it was cool to see the flashbacks and to see like the special relationship that he has with Willa and how she was there for him when his parents, you know, weren't coming to his games and all that. I thought that was really cool. Right, so Bridie, however you say her name, downloaded a bunch of files on Willa's computer when she was like passed out, which is awful. So I don't know. I guess she's, yeah, hoping to use that for her big story, which she hopes to get on the front page. She just sucks. I've never liked that woman, and she's just using everyone for her own gain, and I can't take it. Brittany says when they said it was 2 months since Adam returned, Danny said it had been 2 months since he got home too. Okay, so right, so you're basically saying it's just been, we've been watching this show and it's been going on for 2 months in the time that we've watched it, correct? Is that what you're saying? I hate Bridie now, says Brittany. She's evil and hate her. Yeah, I can't stand her. She's just a user, and I hope something happens and she doesn't get her big story and something like messes it up or whatever, because I'm just so sick of her. Like, she just makes my skin crawl. Just want to say, if you are new to this channel, if you just happen to see this chat, I cover all of the family. I also cover a ton of other mystery shows and some new ones that are coming up soon. So if you would love to, or if you would like to subscribe, then I would love that. And if you would give this video a thumbs up, that would make me happy as well. My more in-depth video on this week's episode of The Family will go live tomorrow, so be sure to check that out. But I'm just so glad that several of you mentioned this show to me. I started watching it a couple episodes in after it had been on, you know, for a couple weeks, and I missed those and went back on the app and watched it. And I'm so glad that I did, because I think it's so good. I haven't, you know, watched one episode where I was bored or where I was like, you know, that was kind of a filler. Not at all. Everything, every week and every episode has reveals and big stuff happening in it, and it keeps you wanting to watch the next week's episode. And I just think that the finale will just be crazy good and make us, you know, be able to, like, not be able to wait for season 2. So I'm very much hoping that it will get renewed. I would just die if it wasn't. So Ryan says, I feel like all the family members show a different outlook of how someone would deal with a situation that they're in. I do. I agree. And I did feel really bad for Danny when, like, his parents weren't coming to his games and stuff, and that's terrible. But, you know, I don't know what it's like to lose a brother and for them to lose a son. So that was, they weren't able to, you know, do some things that they could have been doing if, you know, Adam had been there. Like, they weren't able to go about their normal life, and that was the way they were handling it. However, Willa could, and she made that statement that, like, when you're younger, you can bounce back easier. So yes, I feel terrible that they missed out on some of his, you know, important moments in Danny's life. And I guess he definitely kind of holds that against them still. So Brittany's never really liked Willa, but when I see Bridie use her, I feel bad for Willa because she's so naive and she doesn't see that she's being used. I'm not a huge Willa fan either, I agree, but I think she's a lot more tolerable than the reporter. And I think that she's not so bad after all, especially seeing, like, what she did for her brother when they were younger, and that she's kind of always been there for him. It makes me kind of think she's not as terrible as I had once thought. Brianna says, what if Willa is using Bridie and she has been setting her up and leaving information on purpose? Or are we convinced that Willa is a lesbian? Well, that would be a good twist and very funny, and it would be a perfect payback for the reporter. As far as her being a lesbian, you know, I don't know, because we don't really know her history of dating other people or whatever. So I'm not really sure if she's like experimenting or if she's even dated anyone at all before or what. I just don't think we have enough info because we've never really seen her with anybody else to be able to determine that. But yeah, I think that's a great idea and will be an awesome twist in this show. So yeah, I like that. But so, wow, I just, you know, I feel like as great and awesome as this show is, and parts of it you can kind of sort of figure out, but however, I was just thinking like about next week's episode, and I really don't know what's going to happen other than I definitely don't think that Doug's going to come in there and take the blame for everything and be honest. So something that I caught him saying to Jane the other day was he was talking about just having one boy down in the bunker or whatever you call it. And I honestly believe that. I don't really buy into the fact that both of them were down there for that period of time. Maybe, you know, Ben came with him to go visit Adam. I'm not really sure. But when he said that, it sounded like someone telling the truth. And I'm kind of wondering if, you know, Ben was even down there all the time and wasn't fed and stuff like that. I'm just wondering how much of that is true. And if we find out that all of that has been made up and that he's kind of been working with him or something really crazy, like how much are we going to hate Ben? Because that's insane. I kind of hope that we get a big reveal about Ben, but the family doesn't know. And so that's going to be like the big secret for season 2 is that he's living there and they like have no idea just how terrible he is. Brittany thinks that Willa is a lesbian, but she might realize that Bridie is using her for the story and was secretly planting stuff for her to find. I'm really hoping that that is true and that she is tricking her and all that, because that is exactly what the reporter deserves, because she's just using everyone and she's not a nice person. And yes, that's exactly what should happen to her. Absolutely. So anyway, I just want to thank you guys for being here. It's almost time for us to wrap up for the night, but this chat went by like so fast that it's crazy to me. Also, a side note, if you're a Scream fan, MTV Scream, there is a new trailer out on, or promo, whatever, on MTV's YouTube. It just got released today, so you might want to check that out. It is returning, I think, May 30th, although sometimes I see it say May 31st, so I'm not sure. But I'm covering all of season 2, and I watched season 1 like in a week or something because I was obsessed with it because I didn't watch it when it first aired. So if you haven't watched it and you like these types of shows, because I know you do, you definitely need to. Like, I'm serious. It's really good. It keeps you guessing. There's a lot of twists in it, and I know like you'll like it if you like the family. It's so good, and then you'll be ready to watch it with me at the end of this month. So Brittany says, when Doug was telling that BS story to Jane about wanting to kill himself, that sounded real, but he's trying to manipulate everyone into feeling bad for him. A very great point there. I totally didn't buy that at all. I never for a second think that he wanted to kill himself. He's a master manipulator. So Brianna's asking if I'm going to be doing season 7 of PLL, which I think returns in June. And to be completely honest, I haven't decided. Most likely, though, I will watch and do the videos. I'm not so sure about the live chats, or at least I will attempt it. I just thought last season was just not good at all, but I still want to know how the show ends. I'm probably going to watch regardless. So, like, if I do no videos, I'm going to watch. So if I'm watching, I guess I could attempt to do the videos and, you know, and have no expectations like I did last year, because why would you? Because they would just let you down. So yeah, I would definitely need to make a decision about that this month and I'll put that on Twitter. My Twitter social media stuff is down below, so you can follow me there. I would love it, and keep up with me, and Twitter is the best way to keep up with when I have live shows and videos and what new shows I'm covering, etc. So that would be great if you want to follow me there if you're on Twitter. So I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope the weather's really nice where you are. It's really warming up here where I am in Kentucky, and I love that because I love summer, so that makes me super excited. So I will see you guys tomorrow with my new The Family video. If I miss a comment or you think of something later, just comment on this video, which will be up in about 10 minutes on my channel, and I always reply to all comments. So have a great week, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.